Our last segment, we talked about 3 essentials for a Christian home. And in this segment, we're going to discuss the role of the wife. We're going to look at 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 1 through 6. I always encourage you to have a Bible nearby, a notebook and a pen, that you may take notes and write down the scriptures and become as the Berean, be of a ready mind, but go back and search those scriptures to see whether those things are so. And also encourage you by the word of God, 2 Timothy 2:15, to study, to show yourself approved unto God, a workman need not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Remember Romans 10:17. So then, faith come by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. I'm going to read 1 Peter chapter 3, 1 through 6 from the New King James. Likewise, you wives, be submissive to your own husbands, that even if some do not obey the word, they, without a word, may be won by the conduct of their wives, when they observe your chaste conduct accompanied by fear. Do not let your beauty be that outward adorning of arranging the hair, or wearing gold, or of putting on fine apparel, but let it be the hidden person of the heart, with the incorruptible ornament of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is very precious in the sight of God. For in this manner, in former times, the holy women who trusted in God also adorned themselves, being submissive to their own husbands, as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters are you if you do good and are not afraid with any terror. That's 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 1 through 6 from the New King James. The role of the wife. This passage describes subjection to her husband as a fundamental responsibility of the married woman. Other roles for women are covered in such passages as Proverbs chapter 31, verse 10 through 31, and Titus chapter 2, verse 3 through 5. The wife is to submit to the authority of her husband, not to mankind in general. This does not mean the wife is by nature inferior to the husband. In marriage, two people become one through the joining of their intellects, their emotions, and their wills. To keep their special union from fracturing and destroying itself, one member is charged to lead and one to submit. Once again, to keep a special union from fracturing and destroying itself, one member is charged to lead and one to submit. The wife's submission to her husband is her adorning, which makes her truly beautiful. 1 Peter 3 and 3. This inner beauty is of great value in the sight of God. 1 Peter 3 and 4. The believing woman of the Old Testament who hoped to be the human channel for the Messiah to come into the world made themselves beautiful by being in subjection to their own husbands. This is supremely illustrated in the relationship between Sarah and Abraham. Wives are and thus become Sarah's daughter. 1 Peter 3:6. For the wife who will do this, God promised that if her husband is either an unbeliever or out of fellowship with God, her subjection can be the very means God would use to bring her husband into a proper relationship with God. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 1 and 2. The wife's subjection may lead to the husband's salvation. I'm asking that you go back, listen to this segment once again. Read 1 Peter chapter 3, 1 through 6 again. Run some reference. Meditate on this word over and over again until you see the effects of the word of God working in your life.